I am Darlene Washington, and this is Spiritually Intriguing, the Church Edition. Welcome to our last episode with Pastor Sieon Roberts of New Hope Missionary Baptist Church in Gary, Indiana. Pastor.
Hi.
Okay, we're on our last section, as I said, or session, I should say. And we're just going to get right into it. You know, as I said, did I say before? Let me say, I think I said something about having issues. So here's another issue. All right, so I'm a fan of the Preachers of LA. I guess it's okay to say. It's okay to say that. I'm a fan of the Preachers of LA, and so I was like, what do you think about a Preachers of Chicago? Would that be something good or something bad? Or Preachers of Gary, or Preachers of, you know what I'm saying? Because they taking it to the next level. I thought I saw something about Preachers of Miami or some stuff like that. It's like we're gonna have every major city on the map right there talking about how they pastor their churches. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, how they live and all that kind of stuff. But what do you think?
Well, my issue, again, is all in how the picture is painted. The Preachers of LA show, the first season, I thought, honestly, was a disgrace.
Okay.
The second season, I thought it got a little better because it showed more of the ministry, showed more of them in the community.
Right.
The first show showed more of their personal business.
Right.
And it really,
Good observation.
really, some of it made the church, you know, you got a lot of people out there that are skeptical of the church anyway.
Right, exactly.
And I thought the first season really made us look bad, honestly. The second season, I thought that they did better in marketing and, you know, showing more ministry and outreach and things of that nature.
Right.
So if you're asking me if I think Preachers of Chicago or any other city will be good or bad, it's all going to be based upon the picture that's painted. If you paint the picture of what we're at, pick some guys that are not caught up in shameful acts, that have good names in the community, good names in the world, and show what they're doing positively, then that's well. I mean, if you need to see a little portion of a person's life, then show the portion where they're taking their kids to school. Show the positive stuff, not the stuff where the guy that's been with the girl 17 years and ain't married her.
Yeah,
you know. So
I don't know. There's something wrong with that. We're gonna leave Pastor Noel Jones alone.
I love him though. He's like,
I know, that's what I'm saying.
One of my favorites.
I can't judge, and I do. The whole situation just burns me up, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But go ahead.
Well, I just feel like, you know, whether that's whatever his reality is. I'm not speaking to his reality. I'm saying, why pick that and portray that? Now,
right, they don't have to.
He had to allow it, but I just saying there's so many other things that this guy does well. If I'm in that position, I'm not allowing it to happen. And it's so serious to me that I understand there was money involved. But it's so serious to me that if that's what you're going to portray of me, don't put me in it, you know. And so I just really, in my mind, it's all about what picture are you going to paint.
Yeah, and that's very fair. That's very fair. So my whole situation with Preachers of LA is simply, for Pastor Jones, it's like, okay, how can you're taking my focus away of your good deeds, because now, and like you said, they put all this stuff about the poor Loretta woman who he hasn't married yet, and who he confesses love for and then takes it back all in one sentence, you know, and things of this nature. And I don't know how to feel about that, but I do want to say that I admire him, and I admire Loretta for being able to stand amongst those first ladies and still feel like, you know, hey, I got a right to be here, you know. But it's all in the context of what you really see and think of the show, because it's only a show. But in his life, I don't feel like we have the personal right to judge, you know, whatever. If that's what him and Loretta are doing, and that's fine with them, that's fine. And if his congregation and people are okay with, hey, you can't say he's not a man of God or he doesn't love God just because he hasn't chosen to marry this woman. But on the other hand, it's like, it would be nice for him to take her hand, or either just really definitively, you know, make her his personal assistant or something.
Well, and you know, the whole thing is, to me, that if they're not shown, like, we definitely don't have a right to judge.
Right.
But what you do is you open up the ability for us to have conversations like this,
right,
just by showing it.
Just by showing.
So when you show that on national TV, then we may not be able to judge,
right,
but people are going to have their opinions.
People are going to have their opinions.
And I just say, why even allow that to be open.
So you feel like he should have just been on the show by himself as a single preacher, and they should have never showed her?
Well, not even that. I'm saying you can show her in a different light if you're a business partner with her. Or I don't think we needed to know.
Right, and that's what I was saying. Show her as your personal assistant, or
whatever
something.
the case. I mean, for what she is, but.
Right.
Okay, we found out you're in business with this woman. We found out, you have invested in her business and things of that nature. So if you wanted to show her, I think that there's just another way it could have been done. Or say, hey, just show the part of me that's ministry.
Right.
I mean, I just think...
I totally agree with him. Yeah, that's so well put and so to the point about the whole situation. Because it never had to get into all of that.
Because at the end of the day, they needed him.
Right.
Bishop Noel Jones being on that show boosted the ratings.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to go with pastors that are in LA, you wanted Bishop Noel Jones on the show.
Yeah.
So, like Tyler Perry says all the time, I'm going to be in charge of my publication. I'm going to be able to be the network is not going to dictate to me
what I'm going to do.
What I'm going to do. So
yes.
I just think that it's got to be one of those things as pastors. And again, I want it to be known I love Bishop Noel Jones. He's one of my favorite pastors and preachers, and I didn't stop loving him after the show. But I just, when you ask the question about do I think it'll be good, it's going to be all about what's allowed to be put
portrayed.
out.
I really agree with that. I agree with that. So let's portray some ministry, a little more ministry, and get deep into that. And what do you think of that Dietrich Haddon character?
Oh, I love Dietrich.
Me too.
Dietrich is a very real guy. I mean, he represents real life because he has real issues.
Right.
Made some real mistakes.
Yep.
Tried to make a real comeback.
Yep.
And I love his charisma. I love his character. And I love him as an artist. So, yeah. I like Dietrich. He's a firecracker, but I love him.
Exactly. That's what I loved about him. I'm like, this guy is hot-blooded, but he's for God, and I really like that about him. He's young too, and that makes him really hopeful. Yeah, but moving on to Detroit, the Motor City, or for black people, it's the Motown. But Detroit, good Lord, they're like right next door to us people here in Chicago, Gary. Like right around the corner. But the thing is, they had this bankruptcy situation, and it was a mess. But let me just tell you about it. So Kevyn Orr, emergency manager for Detroit, made this bankruptcy happen for them because they needed it, and he made it happen. He was determined to see it through, and look where they are today. They have bounced back from him filing this bankruptcy. And so I'm looking at what he's done. I'm like, was it his faith in rebuilding Detroit that did it, or just his plain old smarts? He and his team, countless hours, missing personal events. He talks about it in the link that you'll see on the website. And, thank God, yes, for a bank or a financial institution to reinvest in Detroit. But I felt like they were hailing Quicken Loans as the savior of Detroit. And I just couldn't help in this particular clip noticing that they didn't mention Kevyn Orr. All I'm saying is, why not, while they're doing all this prestige about this gentleman, and I didn't take note of his name, but it's the Quicken Loans CEO. And he's, they're like, oh, you wonderful, great person. And that you are. I do, trust me, I don't even live in Detroit, and I appreciate you. But my problem is, I feel like someone should have made mention of this Kevyn Orr character and what he did. And I want to know, why do you think they didn't do that?
Again, it's one of those things where it's open for speculation. I think that Kevyn, or the one word that I can use would be resilience. He was determined to help and to pull Detroit out of the bankruptcy. As far as faith, I don't know if he's a man of faith or not.
Right.
I do know that it's not going to be a unintelligent individual that's going to be able to get that done.
Right.
And I'm sure he had a staff of people working with him.
Yeah.
But it takes somebody who believes in the city, who has a love for the city, and or who can see some good in the city.
Right.
So certainly, we live in a society that that is going to do, again, the powers that be are usually going to do the more politically correct thing, or I'm sorry, they're going to do the thing that benefits them the most.
Right.
So
yeah.
this is probably why Quicken Loans is being tagged as the savior, as opposed to Kevyn Orr. You know, it's just one of those things that we see quite often in society. But, you know, I think there are people there who celebrate, and those of us who know the work that he has done, who can say kudos and hats off to him.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know, there's such a big deal, and but it felt like it to me, because the thing that caught my eye about the whole Detroit thing was they were talking about some article I read had Kevyn Orr on there. He was talking about, oh my God, you know, this city, I'm gonna fix this city. He was like, I'm the man to do this, and I'm gonna make this happen. Lo and behold, he did, and he and his staff did an outstanding job. And so when I was watching the show about, oh, look at how resilient Detroit is because Quicken Loans, and I'm like, okay, yeah, but and like I said, the guy who came there, he did take a lot of risk. He built his offices on a street where it was supposed to be forbidden to travel, you know, late at night or whatever have you. And so he did a darn good thing. So you can't spite that, and I'm not spiting that, because thank God for someone of his intellect and of his magnitude in terms of financial ability to come there and do what he did. You know, of course, he is a great piece of the puzzle, but that puzzle had many pieces. And I feel like if you're going to do a show or a segment on Detroit's resiliency, you need to have all the characters in there that made that happen. So you need to have this gentleman there. You need to have Kevyn Orr there.
Absolutely. Have
the person who made the decision to okay the bankruptcy. You know, talk about that, whether it was whether he was for it, against it, whatever, you got paid on side, whatever the situation was. You know, just show a more complete picture as to the resilience of Detroit. So that's what my problem was. I'm like, okay, I'm so grateful, and I don't want to make it sound like I don't appreciate you for what you did, Mr. Quicken Loans CEO, but don't hate me for not knowing your name. It's on my site. People will be able to get that information, so they'll be able to access you. But I mean, I want you to know that I just felt like they should have told a deeper story. So thank you for that. But that's pretty much all I want to say about that.
awesome.
Yeah, well, thank you. And this is our last segment. I have so much enjoyed talking with you, and we finally met, and we finally got our show going.
Yes.
I'm so happy for that. Thank you.
I'm glad. Thank you for asking me.
My pleasure. That does it for this session with Pastor Sieon Roberts of New Hope Missionary Baptist Church. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.